All right. So today, we're going to be looking at Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
You sent us a ton of stuff
Yeah.
about him.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And I think, more than a bio, you want to understand, what makes him tick, his choices, why Facebook, all that stuff.
Yeah, and what's interesting is just even looking at the material, this theme of control keeps popping up.
Control.
Even from the beginning.
Right from the beginning. Like, who builds a messaging system for their house?
Yeah. Like Zucknet.
Zucknet, just to talk to his dad in the other room.
Yeah, I mean, think about what that says about a 12-year-old, right?
I know.
Like, he's not content with the limitations that exist. He has to create his own solution.
His own thing that he can control and tinker with.
Yeah.
But then he gets his mom, dad, and sister to use it.
I know. That's what's so wild. Like, he actually convinced his family. We're using this.
Right. So fast forward. High school.
Yeah.
Synapse. AI. Music.
Yeah.
This kid's building AI music programs.
I mean, talk about impressive.
Microsoft comes knocking.
Yeah.
AOL comes knocking.
Yeah.
He's like, nope.
Nope, I'm good. I'm going to Harvard.
He chose Harvard.
It's almost like he knew even then that there was something bigger that he wanted to build on his own terms.
So Harvard.
Yeah.
Face mash. Now, this is interesting to me because, okay, rating classmates looks whatever.
But controversial, to say the least.
But what do they tell us?
But it shows that he already had this understanding of how to use technology to tap into human psychology. Like those basic desires for connection, for validation. Remember, this is before Facebook, before social media as we know it.
Right.
But he was already experimenting with the power of online networks.
Yeah. Okay, so he gets shut down pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, Face Mash is shut down pretty quickly, but he learns from it. And less than a year later, the Facebook is born. And that initial concept, connecting people within a specific community, simple.
So simple.
But genius.
Genius. And it wasn't just connecting people.
No.
He gave them tools to control their own presence there. Think about it.
Absolutely.
Profile pages, choosing your photos, all that stuff.
It was revolutionary at that.
Revolutionary. So it takes off. First it's just Harvard, and then it's other colleges, and boom.
I mean, it tapped into this really basic human need to share and to connect, and he provided the platform, the rules of engagement, the control mechanisms.
Okay, but Facebook explodes.
Yeah.
2006 newsfeed.
Oh, this is a pivotal moment.
I know.
Yeah.
And again, it ties back to control.
Yeah.
It changed how we experienced it. We weren't just checking in anymore.
Exactly.
Hooked.
It wasn't just a new feature. It was a fundamental shift in how we consumed information online.
Totally.
Remember, this is before Twitter, before Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook became the place to see what your friends were doing, thinking, feeling in real time, and the algorithm driving it all. He and his team were shaping what we saw and how we interact with each other. Control. Talk about control.
And you got MySpace and Friendster.
Yeah, they're all vying for the top spot.
But Facebook, it just dominated.
And I think a lot of it comes down to user experience.
Okay.
MySpace was all about customization, which, sounds great in theory, but it became really cluttered and confusing.
Yeah.
Facebook was clean, it was intuitive, it was controlled.
Right.
People understood how to use it. It just felt more connected.
So this is also the time, when he's solidifying his leadership style.
Yeah.
Coding all night with the engineers. Totally obsessed with making it the best it could be. And then you get Yahoo and Microsoft coming in with their offers.
Billions of dollars.
Right.
And he walks away.
He walks away.
I mean, that's where this control we keep talking about really comes in, right? He wasn't just building a company. He was building an empire.
Yeah.
And he was not going to let anyone else take the reins.
Which brings us up to 2012.
Yes.
IPO. $104 billion valuation.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire at 28. What do you even do with that?
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
It's wild.
And it brings up so many questions about responsibility, ethics.
I know.
It's a lot to unpack, but we'll get into that in part 2.
We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Stay with us.
I mean, it really is mind-boggling when you think about how young he was.
Yeah, it's almost like a superhero origin story or something.
Right.
Except in this case, the superpowers come with a whole lot of responsibility.
Exactly. And I think that's what starts to happen as Facebook enters this new phase. Okay.
cracks start to show,
Yeah.
and the darker side of social media starts to emerge. Remember all those data privacy concerns that had been kind of bubbling under the surface?
Right.
Well, they kind of explode in 2013 with the Snowden revelations.
Okay, remind me about Snowden.
Right. So Edward Snowden, he's a former NSA contractor.
Right.
He leaks all these classified documents that reveal the extent of government surveillance programs.
Right.
And guess what?
What?
Facebook was deeply involved.
Oh, wow.
Sharing user data with intelligence agencies.
It's like that control we were talking about suddenly took on a whole new meaning, right?
It became a lot more sinister.
Yeah.
And it really raised these questions about, the trade-off between connection and privacy.
Right.
Were we sacrificing too much for the convenience of social media?
And then, of course, Cambridge Analytica in 2018. Man, that was...
Oh, that was a whole other level.
A whole other level.
Data harvesting, potential election manipulation. I mean, people were outraged.
Yeah, it was a watershed moment,
Yeah.
not just for Facebook, but I think for the entire tech industry.
Yeah.
Because it really showed how personal data could be weaponized, how our online activities could be used to manipulate us in ways we never imagined.
Okay, so we have the congressional hearings.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg's up there. He's apologizing. He's promising to do better.
Yeah.
Was it genuine? Or was it just damage control?
I mean, it's hard to say for sure. But one thing that's clear is that public perception of Facebook really shifted.
Oh, yeah.
People started to see it not just as a tool for connection, but as a potential threat.
Yeah.
To democracy, to privacy, even to our mental well-being.
And throughout all of this, he's still making these power moves.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Acquiring Instagram in 2012, WhatsApp in 2014.
Yeah.
It's like he's building this impenetrable fortress of social media.
It is interesting, though, how those acquisitions tie back into this theme of control. He was consolidating his power, creating this vast ecosystem where he could dictate the terms of engagement for billions of users.
Okay, so 2021, huge pivot. We've got the rebranding to Meta.
Yeah.
And he's setting his sights on the metaverse. Is this just another attempt to regain control, steer the narrative,
It's a bold move for sure.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, forget the controversies of the past. The metaverse is the future, and I'm going to be the one to shape it.
Okay, but the metaverse, what is that, really?
Well, think of it as a fully immersive digital world.
Okay.
A place where we can work, play, socialize, all within a virtual environment.
It sounds like science fiction.
It does, a little bit.
Yeah.
But the technology is advancing so rapidly, and Zuckerberg is betting big, that this is the next frontier of human interaction.
Okay, so more control, though, right?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. It's one that we really need to be asking ourselves right now as the metaverse starts to take shape. Do we want to entrust our digital future to a single company, to a single individual? Or do we need a more decentralized, democratic approach to this new technology?
And this brings us back to Zuckerberg, the person.
Yeah.
Because with all this talk about technology and control, you kind of forget that he is a human being, right? He has his own motivations and values.
Exactly. And I think to really understand his vision for the metaverse, we have to look at the other side of the equation, his philanthropy.
Okay, so let's talk about the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative.
Okay.
They're pouring billions into education, healthcare, all this stuff. It sounds like they're trying to solve some of the world's biggest problems.
They are, and it is commendable, but it also raises questions, right, about the role of philanthropy in the tech world.
Okay.
Is it genuine altruism, or is it a way to kind of offset the negative impacts of these powerful technologies?
It's like they're trying to make the world better, but at the same time, they're profiting from a system that's causing some of those problems.
That's the tough part. There's no easy answers. But I think it's important to acknowledge this tension, this inherent contradiction between his desire to connect the world through technology and the very real harms that that technology can inflict.
So what do? We've got this incredibly complex figure at the helm of a company that's reshaping our lives.
Yeah.
And now he's leading the charge into this uncharted territory. What's it all mean?
Well, I think it's a reminder that technology is never neutral.
Right.
It's a reflection of the people who create it,
right?
The values they hold, the choices they make. And as we move into this new era, we need to be aware of those underlying forces, those power dynamics that are shaping our digital future.
So where do we go from here? What happens next in this like Zuckerberg saga.
Well, that's where things get really interesting, and that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Man, it feels like we've been talking about Zuckerberg forever.
We have, from Zucknet to the metaverse. It's quite the story, right?
It is, and it all comes back to this idea of control.
Right. It does, yeah. Like it's a thread that runs through his entire life.
I mean, think about it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Coding, always shaping the world.
Yeah, bending technology to his will.
Yeah. And it's worked for him. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp.
Billions of people using these platforms.
Every day.
Every single day.
Right.
But that success obviously comes with immense power.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, that power can be used for good or for ill.
So what does he want to do with it? Like, what is his ultimate goal? What's he trying to do here?
That's the question, isn't it? Only he knows the answer to that.
Yeah.
But I think we can, we can look for clues.
Yeah.
In his actions, in what he says, in his vision for the future.
Okay, so the metaverse. He's all in.
He is all in, pouring billions into it.
Yeah.
And it's easy to see the appeal, right? I mean, the metaverse has the potential to be truly transformative. Imagine a world where we can work, we can play, we can socialize, we can attend concerts and sporting events.
Right. All from home.
All from the comfort of our homes. I mean,
It sounds amazing, but it also sounds a little dystopian.
Yeah.
Like, are we just going to give up on the real world?
Yeah. That's a valid concern, and it's one we need to address head on.
Right.
The metaverse shouldn't be about escaping reality.
Yeah.
It should be about enhancing it.
Right.
It should be about connecting people in new and meaningful ways.
Yeah.
About fostering creativity, about expanding our horizons.
So how do we make sure that happens? How do we keep it from being this thing where it's just a few companies controlling everything?
That's the tricky part, isn't it? Because right now, the metaverse is basically the Wild West.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all.
There are no rules. There are no guidelines.
Yeah.
It's, whoever has the most money, the most resources.
Like, they're going to be the ones calling the shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to have these conversations, to involve as many different voices as possible in shaping this new landscape.
So we need everybody. Artists, educators, policymakers.
Everybody. We need ethicists.
Yeah.
We need, people from all walks of life coming together.
To make sure that it reflects, the values that we want.
Absolutely.
Diversity, inclusion, accessibility,
sustainability,
all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And we need to be wary of anyone trying to centralize control to create a metaverse that just benefits a select few at the expense of everybody else.
So, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do to make sure that this goes the right way?
Well, I think first and foremost, stay informed.
Okay.
Educate yourself about the technology, about the players involved, the risks, the rewards.
Right.
And be vocal.
Yeah.
Share your concerns, advocate for policies that protect your privacy and your digital rights.
Be mindful of how we use it.
Yeah. Be mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just because something is possible in the metaverse doesn't mean it's ethical or even desirable.
So, man, this has been a really interesting deep dive. We've gone from Zuckerberg's, early life.
I know, we've covered a lot of ground.
To Facebook.
Yeah.
To the metaverse.
The metaverse.
And we've asked a lot of big questions along the way. And honestly, I don't have all the answers.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay not to have all the answers.
Because ultimately, the future of the metaverse, the future of our digital lives, it's not going to be decided by one person or by one company.
It's going to be up to all of us.
It is. It's going to be shaped by the choices we make, the actions we take, the conversations we have.
So keep talking, keep questioning, keep pushing for a better future.
For a digital future that benefits everyone.
That's a great place to end it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged.